Shanahan set. What is the ceiling for quarterback Jackson Tart in year 2?
Well, you know what? I'm not going to say the ceiling. I'm going to say what the floor is, all right? I'm going to say what the expectation needs to be. He needs to be a top 10 passer in terms of total QBR, QB rating. I think he has that kind of upside. Now, they're going to need to help him still. They're going to need to continue to develop this offensive line. They're going to need another wide receiver to go along with Malik and make sure that Malik can stay healthy and make sure Malik is fine so he can play a 17-game season. But I think this is a guy who has the kind of talent to be able to play at this kind of level. Now, obviously, Jackson needs to go ahead and protect himself and make sure that he understands that availability is the best kind of ability. But I truly think that those are the kind of marching orders that the New York Giants coaching staff need to be given on the offensive side of the ball, because this guy has the talent to be a top 10 passer.
Hawk, what do you want to see from Jackson Dart year 2?
I want to see him play smarter. Listen, I think everyone was excited about his style of play and the fact that he is such a competitor out there on the field. But it was reminiscent of Anthony Richardson's first year. Now, look, it's not apples to apples, but playing that way in the National Football League gets you hurt. And you have to understand, as a franchise guy, everybody's job is tied to your availability. And so in year 2, I want to see him continue to take the development on the field, yes, but also in his decision-making and where he puts his body and whether or not it's in harm's way.
All right, next quarterback, quick read. We're going to stay with you, Hawk. Who should trade for Kyler Murray?
I would love to see him in Miami. Like, look, you have a reset down there. When I look at Kyler Murray, and so much is talked about as who is the next Sam Darnold, I actually think Kyler Murray is well ahead of that curve, because we've seen Kyler Murray play really, really well in this league, and I think a change of environment will be good for him. But I also think of specifically the city of Miami, and when I think of Kyler Murray and what keeps him motivated, I feel like he's a perfect fit for the Dolphins organization.
Jeremy, take us through the trade market for Kyler Murray.
It's going to be on the table. My sense is Kyler Murray will be open to a change. He hasn't ruled out staying in Arizona. They have to get together over the next week or two and figure things out, because come mid-March, all his guaranteed money is going to be locked in. We're talking about $37, nearly $40 million that they're going to be on the hook for. So if Murray can facilitate a deal where another team can cover part of that, maybe get him on board, and that could be something where I think he's going to be intrigued by the Minnesotas, or maybe even the Colts if they need somebody for a couple months while Daniel Jones heals up. Like somewhere where he can thrive and win.
Lewis, is it possible Kyler Murray, the next Sam Darnold?
I guess it's possible. Look, I think really what it's going to take for Kyler, it's never been an issue as far as his talent is concerned. We have seen this young man do some very special stuff, both with his legs and with his arm. He has got the tools. His height has never been an issue. He has answered all those questions. The questions that you have with Kyler, when you go down there to Arizona, whether it be to call a game, talk to his teammates, kind of just watch them play, watch him conduct himself, within the context of the team, it's just about who exactly is Kyler Murray from a leadership standpoint, from a teammate standpoint. What kind of consistency does he show in the locker room, on the football field? All the things behind the scenes are the kind of questions that come up with Kyler. It's never about his talent. And I think with Sam, those are the kind of things that you saw in Seattle they loved about him the most, that he's one of the most selfless individuals that, look, you have this entire team out there kind of rooting for him and kind of standing up for him. That's the kind of thing you just want to see if Kyler can get to a place where he can make his teammates feel like that about him.
Jeremy Fowler, last QB read is for you. Are the Steelers and Aaron Rodgers open to a reunion next
Joe,
season?
what do you do when you have a 42-year-old quarterback? You run it back. Why not? Both sides are open to it. The Steelers have been open to it, really, for the majority of the season because they feel like it's gone really well. They know there's some mobility concerns, but he threw the ball well. He was a good influence in the locker room. I talked to a source close to Rodgers who said that he's been rejuvenated. Like the Jets years were rough. Pittsburgh, he absolutely loved it. So certainly feels on the table, but we know this is not going to happen anytime soon based on Rodgers' track record with off seasons and dragging these kind of things out.
42 years old, new coaching staff in Pittsburgh. Wouldn't this be the best time for a reset? Is it possible that they'd be making a mistake bringing them back?
It's obviously possible, but I think they got more than what they bargained for with Aaron Rodgers a year ago. I think to Fowler's point, he loved the stability of the Pittsburgh organization, and they're in bridge mode. You don't bring McCarthy in if you're not in bridge mode. This is where the floor is because we know McCarthy's not going to be there for 20 seasons like all the previous coaches. So you continue that trend unless you have a quarterback that you are in love with, that you feel incredibly confident that you'll get at number 21. Yes, keep Aaron Rodgers there, get draft assets, and look to the future to find your guy.
Yeah, I think as long as he wants to do it and that he is going to be motivated and be all in and kind of have, Mike McCarthy's back the same way he had Mike Tomlin's back, I think for sure you bring him back. For sure, because look, Hawk is making the point. They are in bridge mode. There is no next best alternative that is just jumping off the page at him right now. We don't know what they think about Will Howard. Obviously, some people have mocked Ty Simpson from Alabama to them at 21. I don't think Ty Simpson's going to be there, quite honestly. I think he's going to be off the board even before that. So Pittsburgh better make sure that they have an answer at the quarterback position, considering that this is a football team that's going to be expected to still contend in the North next year.
I will say Will Howard is a sneaky option. They could like him in-house, the way he operates the offense, communicates all those things. They've also done a ton of homework on this particular draft class over the last year and the quarterbacks involved. So we'll see if they pull the trigger.
To put a bow on it, is there anyone else out there that could be interested in Rodgers?
Ooh, well, I'm going to go back to Minnesota.
Okay.
I'm going to go back to Minnesota. Now,
just complete the whole Brett Favre cycle?
Yeah.
Well, any quarterback that's available.
Just delayed.
Right.
Just with an extra stopover in Pittsburgh. Gentlemen, job well done.
Yeah.
Go ahead, put the bump.
I was going to say last year they looked at Rodgers.
Yep.
There were some people in the building that wanted Aaron Rodgers last year. He wanted Minnesota. The GM, who is now gone, they have to fill that spot. But Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, has a lot of influence over there. Like, if they strike out with some other options and strictly need a bridge and still develop JJ, do you go Rodgers?
A lot of finger pointing. Good. Hey, he didn't.
What do you mean?
It's
Quick final word. Minnesota, makes sense?
Keep staying Pittsburgh.
All right, coming up. A Spurs surge last night. Direct into the point there. Real opportunity for some DX, but they decided to go in another direction. Have you seen something like that before at a Super Bowl parade?
I'm trying to think. I mean, I'm used to Patrick Mahomes and those guys getting after it with the goggles or like Jason Kelsey with the weird hats. But no, that was direct and blunt, which, hey, I love it because it gives us something to discuss when it comes to Sam Darnold and the quarterbacks.
Absolutely. Speaking of Darnold, are we at the point now, a few days removed from the Super Bowl, where it's fair to say he's getting the praise and the credit he deserves, or is he still taking too much criticism?
Look, I think he's getting praise and credit because of the fact that, he quarterbacked his football team to a Super Bowl win. He had a great playoff run, 20 turnovers in the regular season, none in the postseason. I mean, that's pretty damn good. I think that's let alone leading your football team in the biggest moments, in the biggest game of your life, the way in which he did. And he's somebody now differently than what he was in his previous years at his stops at the Jets and his stops at Carolina and his brief stop in San Francisco. He's a different quarterback now. He has grown into a different quarterback now. We need to stop looking at him through the lens of the New York Jets and the lens of the Carolina Panthers. Look, Hawk made this point earlier, so I'm going to steal it here just a little bit. He is someone who has really progressed at this point in his career. And that's because we know this. Player progression in the NFL is not just about what you do individually. It's very much so circumstantial. It's about your surroundings. We talk about it all the time on this show. Teams know it. And with Sam, he is the poster boy for it. We knew. And look, Jordan Palmer told me this years ago, before Sam got to San Francisco. He said once he gets around that system, around that coaching tree, watch his career take off. He told me that in the airport down in Mobile. And this was before Sam went to San Francisco. Ever since that moment, his career has been on a rocket ship upward. And that's because we see how dependent quarterback is in particular, and now he's in the sweet spot, and you need to kind of view him as such.
Sam Darnold still not getting the credit he deserves, in your opinion, Fowler?
He's getting an adequate amount of credit and disrespect. I mean, some of the skepticism was deserved. I mean, we're talking 4 or 5 years of shaky quarterback play. Now, I know the Jets, bad environment. Carolina Panthers, bad environment. But at some point, he had to show more glimmers of hope that he did. He needed a proof of concept. He didn't get it in 1 year in Minnesota. He has it now, to Lewis's point. No turnovers in the postseason Super Bowl. Tremendous. He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He is hope for reclamation projects everywhere and for teams that we don't have to have these discussions where if you don't have one of 4 quarterbacks, you're not going to win a Super Bowl. Now, Jalen Hurts, you can win one. Sam Darnold, you can win one. That gives hope for all these teams. They can get a guy in free agency, bring him in and go try to make a run.
Spinning it forward, what's the next step for Darnold?
It's consistency. I think when you look at Sam Darnold, you have to be able to see the trajectory, and that's scouting, right? It's being able to see a player and say, okay, here's where they are, here's where...
And he's going to become a head coach there at the Raiders. That is something to keep an eye on because there is no question that system, look, and he was exposed to Clint in his coaching in particular during his time in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. That is critical. And you know what, Jeremy, you make a great point, and that is the fact that, hey, look, you can win Super Bowls without Patrick Mahomes. You can win Super Bowls without, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, guys of that level, guys who are in that category. It's still about team building. It's still about complementary football. I know we don't like to talk about that too often. We like to kind of say, hey, distill this down to me to one person, the quarterback. You need an elite one. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't need Patrick Mahomes, obviously. And I think you're right. This kind of changes the conversation around quarterback play and team building.
We heard from Ernest Jones at the beginning, his comments for the haters. Not the only one out there throwing shade. Kevin Durant, did you hear what he had to say about Luka and the Joker last night? If you didn't, you're going to, and we're going to react to that straight ahead. Plus, the Dallas dilemma. Should the Cowboys sign wide receiver George Pickens to a long-term contract right now? Lewis has a lot to say about that next.